going to be talking about the art of pitching. If you ask anybody that's been doing anything for a very long time, whether it's masonry, carpentry, brain science, or anything, they will tell you there's an art to it. Pitching is no different. But before I do that, I'd like to tell you what pitching is not. This happened yesterday at the lights area. People, when you hear pitching, people think that, you know, it's this real slick type of sales presentation that they have. And that couldn't be further from the truth. The only thing that a sales pitch and an investor pitch have in common is just the word pitch. Pete and I were walking through just talking to some of the different companies. These guys like, hey, I know who you are. So he said, look, man, I got this idea. And all of a sudden, he used to sell cars. Go figure, right? So he has this canned presentation. And this guy's like breathing fire, man. He said, oh yeah, I can pitch, man, I can pitch. I got an idea. And all of a sudden, he just goes through, he just starts this pitch, man. He's like I said, like a fire-breathing car salesman, right? And he finishes. And when he finishes, he kind of looks at me like this. Like he did it, right? And I'm looking at him like, what did I just hear? Let me tell you what a pitch is. A pitch is nothing more than you presenting an investment opportunity to an investor. That's all it is. It is not the overall sale. It is just your introduction to, you know, just meeting somebody that may be interested in your product, your service, or your idea. But when it comes to pitching, there are a couple of basic things that you do have to have. Now, there's a difference between like this, I'm gonna call him Bill. I don't remember what his name was, but I'll call him Bill, like Fire Marshal Bill or something like that. Okay, the fire-breathing car salesman. It's not about what you want to say. It's about what they want to hear. Because you have to remember, these people have money, they want to invest, but they don't want to be sold. So the first thing that you have to think about is, what's the problem that you're solving? That's the first thing they want to know. They don't want to know all the little intricacies of how this worked and how that worked. They're not interested in that because they hear it all the time. You know, everybody wants, they're like corny, like, sit here, look, I got this idea. And they said, no, they don't want to know that. What problem do you solve? That's all they want to know. The next thing is, they want to know, what's the solution? What is your solution? So the first thing you have to do when you're crafting a pitch is you have to say, okay, you have to identify a problem. This is a problem that I solve. Okay? Here's my solution. That solution is your product, your service, or your idea. That's what it is. The next thing is the investment opportunity. Okay? This is where you get to ask them for money. But you have to be confident and you have to be clear, not only of how much you want, but what is that going to do? How is that going to help you fix that problem? How's it going to take you to the next level? You can't just ask them for money. It reminds me of my little brother when we were kids. I always had money because I used to cut grass. When I was a kid, I always cut grass. He didn't. He just watched television. So on the weekends, you know, he goes up to my dad, hey Dad, can I have 40 bucks? My dad would go, son, let me talk to you. Now when my dad do that, I knew he wouldn't get that $40. He was not going to get it. Because he didn't have a good enough reason to get it. Okay? So you have to know exactly what you want the money for. And how that's going to take you to the next level. So now back to old fire-breathing Bill. So after he wows me with this pitch, you know, and after I come back to my senses, I want to do the natural thing, the responsible thing, so to speak. So I said, well, how much are you asking for? How much would you ask for? He said, well, I don't know, I'd ask for $1 million. Heck, why not? I asked for $2 million. You have got to be serious. Are you kidding me? That's not how it works. It's not like a bonus where you say, okay, I got this great idea. I solved the world problem. Give me money. No, it doesn't work like that. So what I want to do is I want to show you, what do investors look for when they decide that if they're going to invest in a business or not? And they call that due diligence. Okay? If you are investing, I used to be a financial advisor for Ameriprise in a prior lifetime. And if I'm going to do an investment for a particular client, I have to do research. That's called the due diligence, because I have to make sure that whatever investment I recommend to them, they have to match. It has to match with their objective needs, what their needs are. Investors in businesses are no different, whether they're investing in real estate, whether they're investing in small companies, whether they're investing in the stock market, it's all the same. There's a certain criteria that they follow to see if this investment is the right one for them. And it has nothing to do with that great sales pitch. So what I want to do, I want you to write these things down. I'm going to go over a very, very short list. But if you've identified a problem and you provided a solution, so now the investor's saying, okay, I would possibly be interested in this. So the first thing that they want to know is, do you have any sales yet? Have you made any money with this idea that you have? Now here's the thing. If your idea is still in the concept phase, which means it's still on a napkin, or if you're further along down the road, like the companies that you're going to see pitching this afternoon, where you actually have money generating in, it doesn't matter which stage. A lot of these questions that we're going to go over, these are the type of things that investors are looking for. Okay? If you don't have any money, how about potential clients? Anybody that's seen your idea, that's in your target market, that may be interested in it. Because see, these are things that they want to know. Okay? How are you different? Being in your business, boy, hey, I'm a good-looking guy. No, not none of that. Not none of that stuff. How is your business different? What is it about your business that's different? Is it the way that you manufacture your product? Is it the way that you go about getting your sale? Whatever it is, how do you differentiate yourself? That's what they want to know. Okay? Do you have a niche market? I have a friend of mine that created this tool. It's specific for nurses and nurses only. He has a particular market that he's going to be marketing to because he designed this one prototype for that particular market. So, is your idea or your product, does that have a niche market? Okay? Is there a cost advantage? Now, you don't have to have a cost advantage. Cheaper does not necessarily mean better. Being cheaper does not guarantee that it's going to bring clients to you just because you're cheaper. Because remember that old saying, you get what you pay for. Okay? But is there a cost difference? Maybe you can manufacture something cheaper or whatever it is, and whatever that little advantage is, that's what you want to bring out. And I'm going to show you how to do it later when we get through the list. Value proposition. Do you have a value proposition? Meaning, what is your strategy to put yourself into the marketplace? What is it that you're going to offer to get those clients to come in? That's what your value proposition is. Who's your competition? Here's the note. Never say you do not have any competition. Never say that. Because it's not true. You have competition. You may not know it. But you do have competition. And you will find out really quick. If for some reason you don't have any competition, give it 6 months. You will definitely have competition there. Okay? But you want to find out, you want to know as much as you possibly can about your competition. You want to know everything about your competition. You know, I used to always say, and I still say it today, I've been in sales all my life. And the one thing that I always say is, I can sell anything, from toilet paper to atomic bombs. Okay? I don't mean I can sell everything to everyone at any given time. The biggest reason I say that is because I always know my competition. I always know my competition, and I always know my customer, which is what we're doing right here. This is why I'm giving you this list. This is giving you the opportunity to know who your client is, and in this case, as for the pitch, it's going to be the investor. Okay? Price to cost ratio. How much are you selling this for? How much did it cost you to make? Pretty simple. Client testimonial. Even if you don't have a lot of this stuff, excuse me, anytime you can get any type of testimonials from your clients, that is gold. That is gold, because now you have other people that are saying the exact same thing that you're saying. These are satisfied customers. Okay? So if you do have that, that's something else that you want to put into your pitch. What is your business model? What is your overall business model? How do you make money? What is your revenue stream? What is your business model? What is your biggest obstacle? Now, this is one of my favorites, and I'll tell you why. When you're pitching to an investor, and you're not like old fire-breathing Bill that makes them think that everything is great. It's not like that. This is where you become human. Because they're going to want to know that you can overcome certain obstacles. Because remember, at this point, they're betting on the jockey and not the horse. If you've ever heard that before. They want to know that if they do give you that money, that you're going to work your guts out to make this plan work. Okay? How do you make money? Plain and simple. A lot of times people forget that. You know, I understand the concept. I understand the problem. I understand the solution. Yeah, I get that. I understand, and I've heard a lot of it. And I think to myself, how do they make money? And then when you ask them, which is normally one of the Q&A questions, you know, you have this, well, bad way to start a pitch with well. Okay, that is not the way you want to start a pitch, is with well. But you do want to know that, and you do want to be able to explain that, how do I make money? Okay? Now, when you're writing your pitch, you already have your problem identified, you already have the solution, you know what your request is as far as the investment opportunity. Okay? The next thing is going to come the Q&A. Right? Here's the thing about a Q&A. Normally, if it's in a competition like we're going to have this afternoon, you only have X amount of seconds or minutes to answer the question. Okay? Now, when they ask you a question, they want an answer. So you have to be specific. Think about a time when you've asked somebody a question. Okay? And it's only like little kids and stuff. But you ask them a question. It's a simple yes or no question. And they start rambling on and on and on and on and on and on, and you're standing there like this. And you're just waiting. You want to answer the question. Be specific and be concise with it. Give them the meat and potatoes, not a lot of garnish. Okay? Now, all of those questions that I showed you up there, you want to put as much of that in the pitch as you possibly can. Okay? I mean, you don't want to list it out. I mean, it's got to have a nice flow. But here's the thing. You make sure that you have answers to each and every one of those questions. You know why? You're going to see those questions again, right here at the Q&A. Because if you're talking about your potential client, and you're talking about your niche market, and that's what you have in that pitch, you didn't have room for everything else, you're going to get those other questions. And the one thing that I was telling you the other day during the training, be prepared to answer that question. Whether it's a yes, whether it's a no, or even if it's I don't know, be prepared to answer it. Don't just run off and have them looking at you like this. Okay? You want to answer that question. So, now let's talk about confidence. We're gonna look at confidence two separate ways here. And we're gonna talk about confidence when it comes to pitching, but I want to explain to you from the other side what confidence does from a non-verbal communication standpoint. You have got to practice. You have got to practice, 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 because that's how you build your confidence. If you don't have confidence in what you're doing, and what you're saying, subconsciously, it sends off different body signals. Okay? Has anyone ever heard of the fight or flight method? Or simply the fight or flight theory? That's the body's natural response to a threat. So either one of two things happen. Either you're getting ready to fight, or you're getting ready to hightail it out of Dodge. Right? That's what happens. Okay, now certain animals, and I'm talking about human beings, animals as well, we're all the same, have certain defense mechanisms. Halloween just passed by. If someone walks up behind you and they go, boom, what's your natural response? Right, jump, but it's the kind of curl, duck, or somebody says, look out! What do? You duck like this. The reason we do that from instinct is because all of our vital organs are right here. So it's human instinct to want to cover that. The same happens if you're in a situation to where you're not comfortable with it. Anxiety, heart starts racing, blood starts pumping. But what happens is it causes you to get in what's called a guarded mode. People will stand like this, they'll do something like this. All of that is brought on because of certain anxiety. For example, if you're not prepared. Another one is to just put a barrier, they'll stand behind the podium. Because what that does subconsciously, that puts a barrier between the speaker, you, and the audience. That's what being not prepared does to you. It sends off those body signals. Now, from the other side, if you're sitting in the audience, just imagine a time where you met somebody. For the first time, you've never met them before. Person walks up to you, shake their hand, and you're standing there, You're smiling in their face. Yep, great, nice meeting you. And as soon as they leave, you say, I don't trust them. Haven't we all done that, right? Car salesman, perfect. I'm saying that because I used to be a car salesman. And I know there's a lot of people that didn't trust me. Let me tell you why. The brain gets information through our senses. What we hear, see, smell, taste, and touch. In a situation like this, it's based on what you see and what you hear. Right? If I'm saying one thing, but my body language is saying another, that sends conflicting messages. And when that happens, it automatically causes distrust. Automatically. So that's what that gut feeling is when you say, it's just something in my gut that's telling me not to feel it. No, it's not in your gut, it's in their body language. So if somebody is anxious, they're going to naturally have guarded posture. They're going to naturally have a guarded posture. But you watching it, you don't know that. Subconsciously, the only thing you're saying is this person is being guarded. So because this person is being guarded, that's going to make you guarded. And what happens is, at that point, the most important thing you need is trust. And you will not have it. Because regardless of how great that problem is that you just solved, even if the investment opportunity that you presented to them is great, is spot on, nobody, not even you, nobody will do business with somebody that they do not trust. That's the importance of being confident. Because you have a whole different nonverbal unconscious communication thing going on that you're totally unaware of. Not great, they're laughing in your face. Everything's fine on the outside. But on the inside, what are you thinking? And we've all done it. What do you say? I don't trust them. Right? We've all done it. All right, moving right along. Sharpening the ax. Has everybody ever heard that story about the guy that got the axe and wanted to cut trees, stuff like that, so he starts whacking away at trees. The guy's pretty good, he's a young guy. Okay, he cuts down about 18 to 20 trees and he's getting pretty good, stuff like that, but he can never get across the amount of cutting 18 trees. So the older guy says, hey man, you ever thought about sharpening your axe? He said, no, I've been too busy cutting down trees. When it comes to building confidence, there's a right way and a wrong way to do something. You can practice, practice, and practice, and practice, but if you're practicing it wrong, you have just got really, really good at doing it wrong. When I was preparing for the world title, speaking title a couple of years ago, not only did I research a lot of speakers, but I researched a lot of practice techniques because I wanted to get better. And you can practice so long one way and then it'll plateau. I was looking for a way that I could practice to where my efficiency just kept going up and up and up and up. And I found it. And it came in the form of two people that I was able to put together and came up with a pretty good plan. This is Dr. Ivan Joseph. Dr. Ivan Joseph is the athletic director of Ryerson University. Didn't have a soccer team, so he decided he wanted to start a soccer program. He used to play soccer. He wasn't good, but he just wanted a soccer team. Okay? So he went out recruiting. Now, if you don't have a soccer team, and you don't have a soccer program, you're not going to get the best players. This is in Canada. But this is what he did. He decided he was going to start a ladies' soccer team. So he started recruiting, and he would ask these ladies, what is it that, he didn't ask them what their skill was. He didn't ask them what their talent was. He asked them, what is it that you're confident in? Because they would always say, I'm really fast, I can do this. He said, no, tell me what you're confident in. Well, I'm confident in this. He said, oh, you sure? This is what you're confident in? He said, yeah. He said, okay, this is what I want you to do. I'm going to put you on a team, and this one thing that you're confident in, this is the only thing that I want you to work on. This is the only thing. Now, normally, in a conventional sense, when a coach gets an athlete, what is the first thing they say? Well, this is what you're good in. We want you to practice the other areas so you can become more well-rounded. That's not what he did. He recruited every single position that way. He only asked them to work on that one thing that they were already confident in. Well, this is what happened. Mind you, they're unknown, they just started. They went to #1 in the country by doing that. #1. Pretty good, huh? Gets better. Now he decides he's going to start a men's team. And he does the same thing. He goes out and that's how he recruited. What I want you to do, tell me what you're confident in. Not what you like doing, not what you think your talent is. What is it that you're confident in? And they said, well, yeah, I'm confident in this. Same result. They went from nothing to #1 in the country, and they won the national title. Dr. Ivan Joseph believed that confidence is a skill. It's a skill that can be learned through repetition, repetition, repetition. And his definition of confidence is the belief that you believe that you can perform a specific task regardless of the obstacles. Like tying your shoes. If I say, well, okay, we're on a plane. The plane is going down. And the stewardess comes back and says, who can fly this plane? And somebody says, okay, I can fly the plane, I can fly the plane. Then they go sit up there and say, okay, what's the first thing I do? That's not confidence. That's somebody who has a high self-esteem. Okay? Confidence is like tying your shoes. It's not flashy, but if I ask you to tie your shoes right now, Nick, could you tie your shoes? Okay, what about if I turn the lights off? Could you tie your shoes? Okay, if it was pouring down raining, would you still be able to tie your shoes?
Not quicker.
Okay, well see, that's what he means by confident. So what happens with both of these teams, it didn't matter who he was playing, it didn't matter where he was playing. Those children, or the men and the women, the young men and women on that team, they were only asked to do one thing that they were already confident in. So what type of body language do you think they had? It was very, very confident. And that's one thing that investors do look for, is confidence. Okay? So that's how you build confidence. You have to continue to practice, practice, practice. Now, the other one was this guy here. Does anybody know who that is?
Is he the EQ guy?
It's Malcolm Gladwell.
Yep, that's
Malcolm Gladwell. Okay. Malcolm Gladwell wrote a book called The 10,000 Hour Rule. Has anybody heard of it?
No.
You heard of it? Okay. I haven't read the book, but I read something that when I was researching the 10,000 hour rule, basically, let me give you the definition of it. He says it takes 10,000 hours for you to master a skill. Any skill. If you work at it for 10,000 hours. Now to break that down, 10,000 hours is 5 hours a day, Monday through Friday, every week, for 10 years. 10 years. Now, I don't expect you to do a pitch or practice a pitch, one particular pitch for 10 years. I promise you your invention of business is probably outdated by then. But here's the thing, you do have to practice more than once, more than twice. I'll give you an example. Again, go back to when I was competing. In 5 months, I gave one speech. I would probably say between 120 and 150 times. One speech. That's not practicing, that's in front of an audience like this. So if you want to become polished, if you want to become, very, very confident, you have to practice and practice and practice. And this is how you do it. When it comes to mastering a certain skill, this is what he said, and this is the formula that I use and I still use. Okay? The first thing that you have to do is you have to actively engage in deliberate practice. That means no cell phone. That means you are totally focused on the task at hand. And the task at hand at that time is practicing. That's it. No distractions. Not mindless repetition. Or some people pick up, they say, well, I'm going to practice, they read it out. No. You are totally focused on the task at hand. Okay? The second thing is track your progress. Here's the thing about tracking your progress. One of the things that I had to do or wanted to do was, because these competitions are so technical, is get the word out of my speech. You can't say on a daily basis and then all of a sudden not say it. So I knew that the only way to do that was I had to get out of my vocabulary. And if you notice, you won't catch me saying But here's the thing, I had to track it every single day. Okay, I said this many days, the next day, the next day, the next day, and when I did that, it just kept getting smaller and smaller and smaller until I hit 0. That's what he means by track your progress. That's how you practice to get better. The next is simple, analyze your results. As I just said, once you track it, every time you go back to actual practicing, as you said, actively engage in deliberate practice, you analyze your results because you've been practicing it. Now let's focus on this. Let's focus on, and I'm just using let's focus on saying that less and less and less and less. Now this is just, like I said, this is just for this also goes toward eye contact, hand gestures, body language, all of this stuff. But this is how you do it. The second one is, the fourth one is celebrate your success. When I realized that I have completely gotten that crutch word out of my vocabulary, man, I was feeling pretty good. But I did reward myself for it. I really did. The fifth thing is to teach others. And it may sound as if it doesn't belong, but I'm going to tell you it really does. I started coaching about a year ago, and I can't tell you how much more I've learned from helping people craft their pitches versus just me keeping the knowledge up here and just going over it and over it, because it forces you to apply it in a lot of different situations. And if you go back to what Dr. Ivan Joseph said, that was my focus on crafting a pitch. That's it. So when people started coming with all of these other different, this guy has this type of business, this guy has this type of business, it didn't matter because I knew what my process was. And the more and more I did it, the more and more I helped people, the better I got at it. That's why I'm here. Okay. Everything that I told you, some people may have a business already. Scott does a very successful business. And some people may not. It may still be in a concept stage. We started doing meetups for Innov8 maybe about 7 or 8 months ago. And a lot of times I would get people that come in and they say, well, I'm just here to learn. I'm just here to learn. And I never see them again. Let me tell you what happened. There's a lot of those people that had business ideas that they didn't believe in. There's a gentleman that's pitching this afternoon, and the reason I'm saying this is because I met him a couple of weeks ago. I had no idea who he was, and he was at our training a couple of days ago. And I asked him, I said, "Are you pitching?" He said, "No, but I see on the sheet that he is." You have got to believe in whatever it is that you're going to be offering. You have to wholeheartedly believe it. And a lot of times people say, "Well, it's not that easy for me," or it's not that simple. Well, I'm going to tell you this. About 2011, I basically had it in life. I really had it. At that time, I was homeless. I had, lived in abandoned shelters, trailers. This particular night, I was living in a homeless shelter for veterans. Now, living in a homeless shelter for veterans is a little different from any other homeless shelter that you might think of, because at night there's a lot of screaming because of nightmares. So I got tired of hearing their screams, so I would walk at night. And I'm pretty sure they got tired of hearing mine. I was walking back to that shelter one night, and it started to rain. And I found a cover under an awning of an old abandoned building. So all of a sudden, everything that had happened, there was this big, just glass right here so I could see myself in. And I looked at myself, and I said, "My God, how did I get here? How did this happen to me? What did I do wrong in my life?" So it stopped raining, but I just sat there, trying to process this all. And that was one of the first moments of clarity that I had. So I'm sitting on the sidewalk, and I just looked up and I said, "God, I can't continue to live my life like this. I need you to help me. Will you help me? Send me a sign that says you'll help me." And as I said that, there was a truck coming. And the truck hit a puddle of water. And the water and mud just splashed all over me. I said, "That's it. It's over." So I started walking 2 blocks to the Intercoastal Canal Bridge. I went up about 300 feet. It was kind of caged in, but I knew there was a stairwell there. I walked up to that stairwell and I looked down at the concrete. You guys ever thought about suicide before? Real easy to do. For the first time in 45 years, when I stood at the top of that bridge, I realized, I wasn't afraid at all. But you know what? I have control of my life in my hands. Living or dying is my decision right now. I said, And a voice, just as clear as I'm talking to you, said, "What's it going to be, Joel? Are we going to live? Or are we going to die?" I said, "I want to live. But I don't want to go back to that old life." Just like that, I changed my life. I walked back down that bridge, and I went back to that homeless shelter. And there's a couple of decisions that I made. But one of the decisions that I made was that I was never going to let anybody or any of life's circumstances take the control of my life ever again. I laid in that bed and I said, the one thing that I'm going to do, I'm never working for anybody ever. I'm going to start my own business. Now, I'm not going to tell you the whole story, but this is what I did. I moved out of that shelter and moved into a crack hotel. If you from Houma or familiar with Houma, you know which one I'm talking about. okay? And I started selling insurance out of there. I always had an insurance license. Now, by a show of hands, honestly, how many people would buy insurance from somebody that lives in a crack hotel? Nobody, right? The first couple of clients, how did I get my clients? I walked to their house. Then I started getting money in my pocket, and I started catching the bus. Can I walk you to your car, sir? That's all right. See you later. But I caught the bus. Then I eventually bought a car. This was in Houma. To make a long story short, I started in Houma, in that crack hotel. The Dawson Financial Group, which I still own, I expanded it from that hotel to 20 parishes in the state of Louisiana. This year in 2016, it now covers 20%. From Terrebonne Parish, New Orleans, St. Mary, New Iberia, St. Martinville, Vermilion, Ville Platte, Oakdale, Crowley, Rain, Lake Charles. That was all done because I had the belief that I could do it. If you don't have the belief that whatever it is that you want to do, whatever it is, whatever business idea that you have, you won't be able to sell it to anybody. So if there's anybody that believes in it, you have to believe in it. It doesn't matter what anybody, you can sit in on as many trainings as I get. I don't care. I will sit here and I will train you, but none of that stuff matters if you don't believe in yourself. And I do see a lot of that. I see people coming in and they say, well, you know what? I just want to learn. You don't have to know everything. You don't. If you have an idea and you get connected to Innov8, they're going to answer all of the questions for you, but you got to get started. That's what I'm here for. That's what he's here for. He's one of the board of directors. That's what we're here for. You, my friends, just have to have the idea and the willingness to say that I'm going to do it. Don't ask any more questions. But I challenge you right now. We're going to have these pitch events very often next year. Very often. I challenge you to write your idea down on a piece of paper today. Come to me at our next pitch event. I don't care where you are in your business. If you start working on it, going by those questions right there, if you can tell me who your clients are, if you can tell me who your niche market is, or if you have an idea for a specific niche market, that next pitch event coming up, I will train you for free. And you have my word on that, just leave me your business card. Or you can just sign in on a sheet. Well, I don't have a sheet. But you give me your information and I promise you, the only way that we're going to win here is if we all help each other. That's it. That's what all of this is for. There's no such thing as a bad idea. None. There's no such thing as a bad idea. The only thing that we need is the people that are willing to step forward and say, hey, I can do this. But you have to believe in yourself. Because remember, if you don't believe in yourself and you don't believe in your idea, it's going to be really, really hard to get somebody else to do it. I've had a great time. We're going to end a little early because he's already flashing the cards at me. But you guys have been a wonderful audience. Thank you very much. Does anybody have any questions? Yeah, yes sir.
Mostly in the question and answer part, when you have a complex answer, what do you do with it? Because it's too long to give all nuance. And if you shorten it, then they might not believe you because you don't believe yourself.
Because you don't believe yourself?
So if I answer a question without all the nuance, and nuance is important, then I might not make a problem.
When investors ask you a question, they're going to be along the lines of this. There's so much that I wanted to cover that I didn't get the opportunity to. But let me ask you a question like this. When it comes to an investment pitch, you want to keep everything very, very simple. But you don't want to get down into all the nuances and things like that. If that does happen, if they're trying to figure out what the problem is, or if they're trying to figure out how your solution or your idea fixed that problem, it wasn't explained well enough in the beginning. So what I do is, because a lot of these businesses I haven't heard of, So I listen to it as if I'm an investor. And on that sheet, I have a critique sheet. And when I do get people to help me, like Miss Bernadette, this is my friend Miss Bernadette, she's helped me before. I will have her listen. She has no idea what you're talking about. But I will say this. Did you know what the problem was that he was talking about? And it's either yes or no questions. Do you know what his solution is? Okay, so if for some reason somebody that's never heard it before, if they don't know, then I come back to you and say, well, okay, we need to work on this stuff because we have to keep everything simple. Because at the end of the pitch, when you get to the Q&A, if they still asking you questions about the problem or if they asking you questions about the solution, then it wasn't explained well enough. So we have to make sure that it's very simple when you do explain it. But to answer your question again, if they ask one of those questions, you have to figure out how. And the reason I say that, you know, one of my favorite investors is David Rose. He's the CEO of Angel Investors in New York. He said, if you can't answer it in 45 seconds, you don't know it well enough. You do know it well enough, but you just have to, first, which is the reason I gave you this, you want to know, you know, what type of questions that they're going to be asking you so you can be prepared for it. Whatever it is, even if you don't know the answer, you want to know how to answer that question, regardless of what it is. So that's something that you have to just kind of figure out. Next. Yes, sir.
What do you think of elevated pitches? Because a lot of times it's the only way you can get in the door. You need to, like you just said, your friend the fireman runs up to you, and the problem was you didn't have a good elevated pitch.
Who, him?
Yeah, he didn't. He came at you, comes at you like a crazy person.
He was a madman.
Right.
Elevator pitches are perfect. Everybody should have them. And the reason I say that is because whether it be in business or whether it's networking or something like that, but you have to understand what an elevator pitch is. An elevator pitch is different from an investor pitch.
Correct.
Okay? If you do a lot of networking, you should have an elevator pitch, and here's why. If you just meet somebody and we get off subject here, stop the clock, man! I'm just teasing. They ask you a question, so. If let's just say, if you say, oh, so now, what do you do for a living? She's a doctor. Okay. If that's all she says, that means that I get to develop whatever my idea of a doctor is and attach it to her. But if you give an elevator pitch, for example, if she says she was a certain type of doctor that does this, blah, 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 then I know what she does. So my image of what Na does, she just gave it to me. Okay? That's what an elevator pitch is good for, number one. Number two, if you're meeting for somebody for business, if you're in a room, if you're in sales, you're always looking for people. That is your meat and potatoes. That is your bread and butter. Contacting people and knowing what people do and what people don't do. That way you can find out if this person is an actual prospect for you or not. Can this person be a client of yours or not? You can find that out by giving them your elevator pitch and seeing what this is. That's how you start a conversation. But everybody should have one, especially, I wish I could do my class on networking right now, but I know they're about to cut me off. I know they're about to do it. You're not about to do it? You're not?
Allowed to do what? I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
I misunderstood you.
Okay,
I thought you didn't have enough time. I was like, no, keep going.
No, you know, he's got the timer right there.
Yeah.
But,
Well, we won't pay
you know,
attention.
an elevator pitch is something that you can use to start a conversation, okay, about what you do. You know, when people ask me, so Joel, what do you do? I tell them I help entrepreneurs sell their ideas better or more effectively. Now, if I say I'm a pitch coach, here we go again. God, look, I got this idea for you. Okay, just stay here. And then comes the fire-breathing salesman again. But it's very simple. Now, if I wanted to find out if that person was a potential client, I gave him enough to start a dialogue. Okay, so what do you mean? Tell me what do you mean? How do you do that? Now I have a dialogue. Okay? Questions? No more? Okay, you want to watch me dance? Yes, ma'am.
I do have a question, and I hope that you'll encourage all of the folks that helped put this together. By the way, thank you very much for your time in educating us. I would really like to see Innov8 put this on webinars on your website rather than just on whatever it's going to be, open channel, whatever. I'm not quite sure. I sort of overheard someone say something along those lines. But this is such fabulous information, and there were seminars I wanted to go to. But it was the tug of war in my mind. Which one would be better or a fit for me?
We are already ahead of you. All of these are being recorded, not necessarily for the open channel. These are going to be training videos, so you're going to be a part of one.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Tell
In the
me.
future, what we're going to do, because a lot of people, we may do it this afternoon, but the competition is going to be streaming live. And so for the people that are not able to be here and watch it, they can either go to the Innov8 website or the Delta Region Authority website and actually, well, not the website, to the YouTube channel and watch it. So we have a lot of this coming down the pipe. Next year, I know I'm going to have plenty of all type of different webinars, a lot of training modules, because I can't be in all places at all time to help people with this. And I know there's somebody sitting in here, or maybe have just walked out, they have an idea, they know they have an idea. All they need to do is just step forward. But we're going to give them everything that they need in order to move forward for them.
Thank you.
Anything else? Okay, he's about to cut me off. He's going, oh, how do you do it, baby? Like, cut the lights. I got 2 minutes. Okay, well, I tell you what, I already deleted, but you guys have been great. We really have. I like to give you guys